What if I told you that your IQ did not matter as much as you once thought? That straight A's were not only the least of your worries, but often the least of what employers look for when it comes to hiring and promoting leaders in the profession of pharmacy. In fact, for your career as a pharmacist, your personal brand, and overall being a good human, there is something else, your EQ, that is the unsung hero that most people miss. In this episode, I'm going to break down what that is, how you can create it, and why this can become your secret weapon for success in literally every area of your pharmacy life. Get ready, Fit Pharm fam. You're about to have a breakthrough.
I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. And today, we break through. And today, we break through. And today.
Welcome to the Fit Pharmacist YouTube channel. If you're looking to create a breakthrough in your pharmacy career and script your brand to stand out, to dispense your full potential, this is where I share not only what will effectively equip you to do just that, but how to practically implement these strategies into your life. If this is your first time here, please be sure to hit that subscribe bell so that you can never miss a dose of the real talk that will make the biggest impact to your career and sphere of influence for your brand. If you're excited to dive into this week's topic on emotional intelligence, please take a quick second and hit that like button on this video. I consider it a dose of support and really appreciate every single act of encouragement from you, Fit Pharm fam. Okay, so I am so excited for this episode, my friends, as to what I'm about to share can seriously be a game changer and personal brand maker for your pharmacy career. And this is not hyperbole. Like, it can honestly make that big of an impact in every area of your professional and personal life. So I encourage you to take notes, to come back to this episode, re-listen to it, because this is going to be broken down into a 5-part series so that you can really get a deep dive into what we're going to cover. Your EQ, that is your emotional intelligence. Now, this is likely not the first time you've heard of emotional intelligence, but what exactly is it? How do you become more emotionally intelligent? Well, in this episode and the 5 episodes in this mini-series, I'm going to walk you through the 5 facets of emotional intelligence and how you can increase your EQ as a value-driven pharmacy professional. As a quick outline of what we're going to cover in this mini-series, I've divided this episode into the 5 core components to understand how to develop each area of your EQ, plus how to tie them all together and collectively grow your emotional intelligence as a whole. We're about to take a deep dive into self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skill. So let's get this party started. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Ode to the Sound of Music. But truly, this will be music to your ears because the first piece of emotional intelligence stems from the source, you. And coincidentally, you are also the source of your personal brand. So it's imperative that you get a solid handle on this foundation, that foundation of self-awareness. So, what does it mean to be self-aware? Having the ability to know if you have spinach in your teeth without looking in the mirror? Perhaps a form of ESP about what you're going to do next? Or does it mean something more? Something that can impact your relationships, your leadership ability, and your ability to build the best version of you, to truly dispense your full potential. The first of the 5 facets of emotional intelligence is in fact self-awareness, having a deep understanding of your emotions, needs, strengths, weaknesses, and motivations. It doesn't come down to whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert in your social interactions, but your level of honesty with yourself and your peers with respect to these aforementioned qualities. So I love examples because I was not in Rho Chi. Truth be told, I might have been vice president of No Chi, Low Chi, but I didn't adhere to back Rho Chi. So at least I had that going for me. So I like simple examples. I like to understand things, seeing them played out. And who doesn't love a good story from the real world of club pharmacy? So let's take this with an example of working in the pharmacy. So if you know that you're going to have a short-staffed day and that pressure really gets to you and gets you flustered, you may plan ahead by calling around to get someone to come help, or maybe head in earlier for your shift to get a head start on your work to lighten your workload. In essence, cutting down your stress level before it begins. So we have all interacted with a hot-tempered patient at one time or another. Let's just be real. People that go to the pharmacy are not having the best day. They might have had some really traumatic news, lost a family member, or who knows. And emotions are at a very high point. So a pharmacist with a high level of self-awareness will be able to interact with this patient because they are aware of their environment and the potential situation that a patient could be in without them knowing, and they're able to keep his or her cool in this interaction. She or he will get it that the patient probably has more going on behind the scenes that meets the eye, because here's another dose of real talk. Everyone is fighting a battle that you have no clue about. So if you really realize that and implement that into how you interact with people, not to make excuses for abusive interactions or anything like that, but you get what I'm saying. Rather than fall victim to the temper, the pharmacist will turn it into a positive interaction, benefiting the patient so much so that the patient will come back for that excellent level of care received by the self-aware pharmacist. The next component of your self-awareness comes to your motives, your recognition of values and goals. Do you know where you are working to end up and why you want to end up there? Like your goals, what are you there for? What's your end goal? Like, what are you striving for? A self-aware person will say, yes, I do know that, or at least have some sort of direction or idea with regards to what my goals are. If you really love working, for example, in a hospital setting and want to build a practice alongside a physician, but you're offered a high-paying job in the retail or community setting, your decision will give light to your level of self-awareness. Are you going to stick with your goal of building your career in hospital, or are you going to be lured by finances? It really comes down to having that self-awareness. And a lot of us are faced with situations like this and many others, whether it's at graduation or down in our career as we go. Like this can come up at any time. And knowing what your passion and goals are, and that this opportunity, this offer for switching careers when your real goal is hospital, doesn't really coincide with what's really important to you. So it would likely lead you to passing on the offer because the opportunity and what your goals are do not align. I know this sounds overly simple, but you would be amazed at how many people don't have this awareness piece, end up taking the short-term win, and then end in long-term suffering, regretting the decision because they did not have this awareness piece. If your values are reflected in your decisions, you are displaying self-awareness. So let me ask you, does your job invigorate you, or does it leave you feeling sucked dry of purpose, where you're questioning, why did I even get into pharmacy in the first place? This sucks. Like, is that you? Because the answer will be really telling. Hint, I bet you already know. So it's great to be optimistic and see every challenge as an opportunity, but, and I say this all the time, I am not a blind optimist. You have to be honest and realistic with your abilities in assessing if they can hold weight when tied to your emotions. Self-knowledge can be invaluable in progressing as a person. The ability to admit your faults, own up to your actions, and learn from them to move forward are what drive us to become not just better pharmacy professionals, but human beings, yo. When you make a mistake, do you own up to it, to learn from it, to grow from it, to apologize and make things right, and then put systems in place, really take action on owning that and preventing it from happening again? Or are you the one that casts blame on someone or something else? Oh, they screwed me over. I didn't have all the resources, and on and on and on. A highly self-aware person realizes that, yes, mistakes happen, and that they value an outsider's perspective on what they may have missed. Seeking constructive criticism to become better rather than getting butthurt on helpful feedback is a common feature among those of us who are self-aware. Now, this is a process. It's not a you have it or you don't. It's something that we all work on, myself included. So it's not something that is black and white. It's something that needs to be developed, but it can't be developed unless you start with the self-awareness piece. Because what I'm talking about ties very closely with self-confidence, specifically knowing your strengths and aligning yourself best to utilize them in situations. Because when you do, not if, but when you do encounter a situation that brings out your weaknesses, because we all have them, your homeboy included, having the gusto to ask for help is seen as a display of strength rather than a highlight of weakness or sign of failure. Set your pride aside. Take a dose of humility. It's humbling, but that is the best quality to grow, not just your emotional intelligence, but your leadership and your personality. It is refreshing because unfortunately it's rare. It is humbling. It takes it's a process. Like, we're all work in progress, but if you really are intentional about this and flip your script on when you feel those negative situations, when you feel those negative responses in yourself coming up amidst adversity, instead of reacting, use that sign, use that feedback of those heated emotions as a signal to pause and check in with, is what I'm about to do or say really going to be in this person's or my best interest long term, or will this just be a reaction that will lead me to regret? This is something to think about. It's so essential, and it is a telling sign of not just the emotionally intelligent, but the mature and those who are really looking to dispense their full potential. This is self-awareness. If this was your first time listening, please be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform so that you never miss a dose of the real talk we dispense every single week to help you make the biggest impact in your career and sphere of influence for your personal brand in pharmacy. If you found just one nugget of knowledge that you think is useful, that you're putting into practice, or is it you think differently, please share this episode on your favorite social media platform to help grow our community and message that you can dispense your full potential and become the change you wish to see in pharmacy. It all starts with you. I consider it a dose of support and really appreciate every single act of encouragement from you, Fit Pharm fam. With that being said, go forth, be great, and dispense your full potential. God bless.
I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear.